bonjour, and welcome to the Amateur Detective Club. This club is exactly how it sounds. A bunch of amateurs talking about their favorite mysteries. So if you encounter a real mystery or a murder, contact the proper authorities. Do not come to us. We do not know what we are doing. But enjoy the program. Allons-y. Let us begin.
I now call this meeting of the Amateur Detective Club to order. My name is Tristan Miller, the saucy swoof.
I'm Melissa Meli, the spy.
And sometimes there's an Audible ad, but not today.
Insert Audible ad. You know it. You love it. You've heard it before.
Go back and listen to a previous episode. Life is Chaos. I still have not gotten the link. We're on the Scavenge Network. Go to scavengenetwork.com and check out all this fun stuff before we talk so much we forget again.
Oh, sure. And we're on social media at ADC Pod. Our email address is
amateurdetectiveclub@gmail.com.
Thank you.
It's on my phone. I'm the only one who's going to be corresponding with you. It's fine. And then patreon.com/ADCpod.
Give us money.
Give us money. We got a new patron, actually.
Yay, thank you.
I'm going to shout them out because they're worth shouting out. Let me
Yes,
bring up
that's
their
very
name
exciting.
right now. You know, I got the notification, and it was from the email. So this proves that we're not lying to you.
That
Thank
we do
you,
have an
Brett
email.
Lashoy. Ooh,
How do you spell it?
LASLACA.
Sorry.
I have dyslexia, and it's bad. Thank you,
Oh, I don't know how to pronounce your last name.
Brett.
Lachey is not what it is, I'm sure. Lachey. Thank you, Brett. Brett. We got Brett.
Yeah, let's
You
just
can, if you want to, you can write it out phonetically for us, and we will correct ourselves in the next episode.
Yes. Thank you very much, Brett, for
Thank you.
that. Tyler Riley, the cop and a half, he is on sabbatical right now, and we miss him, and it's just me and Melissa for a little bit, but we're still here. We're still coming at you.
Coming at you from Tristan's living room / bedroom kitchen.
The palatial podcasting studios. It's all one big studio, if you can believe it. And we're giving away raffle tickets to the state fair this week. The fifth caller.
Speaking of state fairs.
Ooh, it's state of affairs. Am I right, folks?
This is like fall festival,
Oh, sure.
apple picking, harvest season.
Apple picking, boots with the fur. The whole club was looking at her. But it is. It's fully autumnal now.
It is.
Despite it being 70 degrees out right now.
Oh, I was just in Pennsylvania where it is real fall.
Yeah. New York fall happens for 2 weeks in November.
It's the best, honestly. It's the best time in New York.
Mm-hmm. It's the most wonderful time of the year, if you can believe it.
Very true. But yes, it has not quite reached New York City yet, but out in rural PA, oh my goodness, the leaves are a-changin'. It's amazing. I was at a fall festival the other day at a ski resort, if you can believe.
You are living a different life. Me, I was crying in a basement, which is also my apartment.
This past weekend I went with Rich's parents and Rich was there too, to a fall festival, which was quite an experience. It was fun. It was a fun time, and I'm very glad it was all outside.
When you said rural PA, number one, rural is one of my least favorite words. It's a pain to say.
It's hard to say.
But I thought of rural Pa, like Pa Ingalls.
Okay.
Like a farmer Pa.
Sure.
But that sounds very fun. At a ski resort.
Yeah, they were selling lift tickets. So instead of obviously skiing, you would just ride around on the chairlift.
That's fun.
We did not do that. I'm okay.
Did they have French onion soup?
Not that I know of. We only went and got some drinks at the bar. We did not have their cafeteria food.
Oh, it was a cafeteria.
Yes. So we
it
ended
wasn't
up
like a lodge.
It kind of was.
but it has a cafeteria.
Yeah, it seemed more like a buffet style food that is not quite the thing right now for me.
Buffet style seems like you're asking for trouble in this day and age. Am I incorrect?
No, I think that that's about right. It was just the food didn't seem like the best choice there, but there was a bar with some. We all got some beers, so that was nice for us. And then got very hungry because we didn't eat any food, so we ate a really late lunch. Anyway, it was fun. And this weekend, I'm going apple picking because I love fall and I am a white woman.
I love fall and the wistful, happy, sad it makes me feel. I was talking to a friend and she hates fall because it's like a like obviously there's rebirth of the spring, but like she's a summertime gal. And I'm like, I will never be.
No.
Because I hate the heat and I love crunching in leaves and I love feeling it's this big emotion of like, oh, everything could happen to me at once. Like it's so
It's true.
grandiose and so foolish, but it's wistful and you feel that cool breeze and you're reminded of every year before it and you regret and you rejoice. It's like, I don't know, it's the most contradictory season we have.
And also, you can wear sweaters.
That is my favorite thing as well. I do not enjoy, if I'm wearing just a t-shirt, I feel underdressed. And I am. If I show up in just a t-shirt to a function and you see me, I'm not having a good day.
Yeah.
I'm like Paul F. Tompkins that way. You're like, what is happening? And it's a crisis. It's a call for help.
Yeah.
If you see me in a t-shirt, it's a call for help.
That's good to know. I will keep that in my back pocket.
Thank you. I do remember I was reviewing like stand-up clips from this summer and I was like, why do I look so blotchy in all of these? And it's like, oh, it's because it was 80 degrees and you're still wearing a long sleeve collared shirt because you're in front of people. That's why you were sweating, Tristan.
Yeah.
You fool. You absolute troglodyte.
Yeah, it's true. Sweaters, light jackets,
Big fan of
and
a light jacket.
boots. The best clothes. The feeling of getting home and being like, I feel a little chill. I'm just gonna curl up with a blanket on the couch. I have a blanket on me unless it is 80 degrees outside.
Yes. Over this past summer, I don't pay for my electricity. And I have an air conditioning unit. And so that thing was on 24/7. So I was in sweats, a hoodie, and also a blanket when it was like 898. I'm solely responsible for the climate change crisis is what I'm referring to. But any time of the year I can sleep with the window open.
Yes.
That means it's a good day. If I can wake up and it's cold, if I wake up cold, I'm happy. I don't know why.
I need to be able to get out of bed because if it's too cold, see, that's why it's perfect in fall.
Yeah. Now, when you wake up,
I don't make the rules. I do make the rules.
Do you set one alarm or two? Or 3 or 5 or 6 or whatever.
I set one alarm and then reset it or snooze it.
Okay, you live a different life than me.
Yeah, I fool myself.
I will set about 5. Within 15 minutes of each other. And I recently, if you want to follow me on Twitter at TristanJMiller1, I've been doing, since it's ADHD Awareness Month, along with a bunch of other awareness months in October. We need more months or fewer observances. Both, probably. Like, Columbus Day, Indigenous Peoples Day, and Coming Out Day should not have landed all on the same day this year. This seems like a bet. We need to reconfigure the system.
Do you know what else it was? It was also, I believe, Day of the Girl.
Day of the Girl?
Yeah. And the Boston Marathon this year as well.
Yeah.
It was very many days yesterday.
Too many days. So I've been doing tips for navigating life with ADHD because that's something I do, and one of them is setting alarms, and I will set different music or tones for each alarm.
So you know.
So I know, like, oh, oh, and the Stardew Valley Overture is playing. I really need to get out of bed, which is really helpful. But also, it's with the window open, I like to wake up cold and then be in bed for 20 minutes and going, oh, I'm so cold, but so comfortable. Oh, I
yeah, that's
love
a
it.
good idea.
I love it so much. And I generally listen to an audiobook, so I'm just listening to something in bed.
Yeah,
And it's very enjoyable.
I do that as well.
I've been falling asleep on the couch a lot lately,
Mm.
despite you could touch the couch and my bed if you wanted to,
Well, I'm quite small.
but you
so
could.
I'm a bit of a hobbit. Okay, I'm doing it.
Okay.
This is an audio medium, so this
She
is
is
going to be
bending
great.
down.
I'm
She's
like-
bending down. Oh my God, she's turned into a werewolf. If you can believe
Yep,
it.
I'm touching the couch and the bed.
But I fall asleep on the couch all the time, and it's been more comfortable, and I don't know what's going on. And then I had this thought, and I was like, do not open this door. I was like, do I even need a bed? I was like, what if I got a futon? I'd be like, you'd be regressing. That is what that is. You would be regressing, and that's not good. Don't
No.
indulge that.
You need a bed, if only
For sex.
for yes,
For sex.
for other people that come into your apartment. Yeah, I did that on purpose. Should we talk about?
Today we're talking about season 1, episode 2 of Only Murders in the Building. Who is Tim Kono?
Who is Tim Kono?
Who is Tim Kono? It opens up with what again? I just rewatched it, but it's gone from my mind.
It opens up
In one
with
eye,
a
out the other.
recap of last time on Only Murders in the Building.
Sorry, I made myself laugh at that. In one eye, out the other. Gonna start saying that all the time.
How would that? I mean, I guess
It would loop around the
is there
same
a
way.
that could do?
I mean, your optic nerves both go back into your brain, so it would loop from one through the optic nerve to your brain and then out the other, much like
That
a
would
cardio.
be very difficult.
Yeah.
That would be a challenge, I believe. Okay, so we open with a scene from Brazos,
Oh,
which
yes.
is shot so beautifully.
Yes, it's made to look like a 70s cop drama,
Yes.
and it's Steve Martin in a bad wig and sunglasses.
Mm-hmm.
It's
And-
very funny.
So we realize that Mabel is watching Brazos.
Yes, on
And-
YouTube.
On YouTube, and she is sketching on her little sketch iPad thing.
It's just an iPad, Melissa. But go off. She just has like Krita on her iPad. It's chill, but like,
But isn't it great when I
She
don't
is-
know the name of something?
yeah, she's yes, number one, yes, and she's also in this fantastic little sweater. Her
Yeah.
outfits in this. Oh my god, we can't.
We can't talk about every outfit.
Every outfit, they're always good.
Yeah, always, always. Actually, I really do want that sweater.
It's
Anyway,
so cute.
so yeah, she is sketching Tim Kono. Looks great. She has his Facebook page open, and she is watching Brazos, and he is saying the speech on the show that he had said to her when he was picking the lock about his dad.
Yeah, the previous episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she says, "What the? Huh?" And
Yeah,
Then
she-
it cuts to credits, right? We should figure out who does the music
Oh,
because they
yes.
do a great job.
It's so good. It's
Look
very,
it up.
very good.
Look it up.
I will when I'm not scrubbing through the episode.
I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the audience.
Oh,
Look it up, people. Sorry, I didn't even realize that you could have possibly thought that I'm so sorry
it's okay.
because my tone was not good. Look it up. Why aren't you doing it?
The thing is, it is also fall in New York in this series, and and that is why they're wearing such wonderful clothes.
Marty Short has a great scarf,
Always many great scarves. I feel like he has a collection.
and I will call him Marty Short despite never having met the man.
Sure.
Just like I say, Marty Scorsese, because I'm a little dink.
So they're in a closet.
Marty and Steve.
Yes. Doing the podcast.
Yes. Oliver and
Charles.
Brazos. Yes, Charles.
So Oliver's coaching Charles, telling him that he's not doing a good job And then he's saying it's very hot in the closet. Which
And he
is...
says, do you remember the joke?
No, tell me the joke.
He goes something to the effect of, "What are you, Patty LaPone?"
Oh, yeah.
It's like, do we have to do this in a closet? What are you, Patty LaPone?
Yeah. But then he says, but also this writing, because what they're going through is, who is Tim Kono?
Who is Tim Kono?
Yes.
And he says you don't know anything about. Steve says you don't know anything about it. This writing's terrible. He could be. It's like he was a mixed Asian man, Japanese, Chinese, perhaps like Laotian descent, and he's like, it's just bad. It's just because they don't know anything about it.
Right. They're like, what they have on the screen is the meeting in the elevator because
Yeah.
they're going through everything. Very pleasing nail beds. Probably got regular manicures.
Yep, which is so weird.
It's so weird.
It's so good.
It really is.
So Charles chews him out.
Yes.
And then Mabel shows up, right?
Then Mabel shows up in another cute outfit.
Yes, in this like mock top and mini skirt combo. A+. And she's like, "Hey, there's a memorial for him. We can figure out what he's like from there."
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So they're talking about how like a murderer probably lives in this building.
Oh, right, because she just opens the door
Yeah.
and Oliver's like, "It's neighborly." And she's like, literally, a murderer lives in this building.
Right, because he leaves his door unlocked and she just walked in. And she's like, well, I guess old white men are only worried about colon cancer and societal change.
Which is so good.
It's really
A+.
good.
They give her a lot of good zingers.
They
Her
did.
character in general is very, very good.
It
Big
really,
fan.
yeah. So she is mad at him and being snarky.
Yeah, she's mad at Charles for lying to her,
Yes.
seemingly, about the whole dad thing.
Yeah. So, which is, a fun direction to take it since, of course, she's lying about the fact she doesn't know Tim Kono.
Yeah.
But, this is flashback to them as adults, Mabel and Tim as adults, having a fight in the hallway
in
of
the
the
elevator.
Arconia.
Yeah.
And, Oscar's getting out of jail, she says, and she's trying to convince him to make things right, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, listen, he says, I don't want to think about that. Pretend you don't know me.
Yeah. Is this before or after they talk to Ursula? This is before they talk.
Yeah.
Way before they talk to Ursula.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So that's that. And then they do go to the memorial service. They go down and do that.
And Oliver says, "There's a spread."
Yeah.
And he goes, "Oh, look at all these dips. I probably, I have dips for dinner. I probably haven't actually eaten a full meal, and I've lost 14 pounds and a fair amount of hair, but like, it's good, this sort of thing." And you slowly realize that like Oliver's situation is awful.
Yeah.
He has been stealing food from events, which is what he makes Charles do at the end as well. They all take it up to his apartment.
Yeah.
But like, it's not he's like he can't afford cable. It's like he can't afford food.
Yeah. And he's living in this luxury building, and it's just all very...
It's very sad.
It is. It's very sad.
So the is she the superintendent or the leader of the apartment society?
Yeah, she's like the leader of the apartment society. Bunny. Yeah.
She's leading this memorial.
Yes.
And she goes, "Why is everyone standing? This is only going to take long if you make it take long."
Right. Right.
Very good woman. A good attitude from this woman. Great job from this actress. She's so funny.
Yeah.
And she says, "I know none of us liked him. Can't we just be glad he's dead? And like, let's just do this," which is indicating that like now everyone in the building is suspect.
Yeah.
And there's this good recurring bit with there's a therapist who keeps offering his services
Yeah.
as a grief counselor, and he takes Venmo, and he's
Yeah.
clearly desperate.
Yeah. Yeah. A one woman pipes up and says, listen, I know I already submitted my request, but I did have the apartment next to Tim and, dibs.
Yeah, dibs on the apartment. She has kids or something?
Something like that. And then there's a woman who's like, can I start using my fireplace again? Since he was the one that
because he had asthma.
So we couldn't use our fireplaces.
And Charles says he's the reason we couldn't use our fireplaces. Oh man, I hated that guy. Which is very funny. And then also it's worth noting that in the previous episode, Oliver just turns his fireplace on anyway. He clearly does not care.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is very funny.
Yeah.
Also, can you imagine having an apartment with a fireplace? Oh, we had a real fireplace and a fake fireplace in different houses growing up. And oh my God, I was obsessed.
Yeah.
I love a fireplace. I love I'm slowly realizing I've tried to decorate my apartment in as much as what is now called cottagecore as possible. A lot of woodsy sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Like I have coasters from Winona, Minnesota that are made from driftwood.
Yeah, you do.
Anything that can make my place look like the lodge from Twin Peaks. That's what I'm going for, which I now realize is called cottagecore, which I didn't know that's what that term meant. And I was like, I'd fallen into a trap.
Oh no, you're trendy.
Oh no, I'm...
Oh no. And then a man is very sad about his cat, who also died on the same night. Ethel is the cat. Mm-hmm. Evelyn.
And he is crying so much that he can't get a word out, pretty much.
Yeah, and everyone's really sad about Evelyn the cat.
Yeah, because they all like the cat more than Tim.
Yeah. Poor Tim.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Poor Tim or not. We shall see.
Yeah, he certainly was a jerk to Mabel before.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, the guy who plays the cat daddy.
Hey, cat daddy. Hey, Toots, I'm a real cat daddy, let me tell you.
Evelyn's dad, but a human.
We come from such a different angle. We've talked about this immensely with that thing. The man that owned the cat that died.
Whatever.
Oh my gosh.
I know. I'm doing this kind of to troll Tristan.
Oh, absolutely. I know. Half of friendship is irking each other on purpose. I said dogs shouldn't be on the furniture, and you've still never forgiven me for that.
True.
Some people shouldn't be let on the furniture.
That's true.
So that's all I have to say about that. But anyway, this man, the cat daddy.
He reminds me of, like, it's hard. I feel like I know him.
Okay, let me take a peep at the IMDb.
Like, I feel like I've met him in person.
You may well have. It's shot in New York.
Yeah, no, I know. Every once in a while that happens. There are a few actors who are relatively famous who I've either met in person or like are friends of friends. And it's still funny to me whenever I see them on TV, even though they've been on SNL for like many years.
Michael Cyril Creighton?
No.
He's known for Spotlight, High Maintenance, and Horace and Pete.
Yeah.
So he is one of these New York actors.
He is that guy.
Yes.
As the Ben and Adam on The Greatest Generation would say. He's that guy.
He is that guy.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. He also does like slightly resemble people I know in real life.
Mm-hmm. He's also very good. We should
He's
also
great.
note
Oh,
this.
yeah.
His crying, did not question it for 1 minute.
That's fair. Although crying isn't.
No, but to be convincing is acting. You have to convince yourself and the audience that what you're saying is true and believable.
That's true. That is.
And the crying
Helped.
And it was also very funny.
It was funny.
I can cry on cue for a bit, but I don't think I could do it if like the scene is like, oh, your parent has died or something. I would have a hard time with that. Yeah, I don't know what that means psychologically, but like if like I was doing a sketch and someone knocked ice cream out of my hand and I needed to like full on actually cry, I could do it.
I don't think I can.
Interesting.
I could be very sad and upset about it, but I don't know if I could get there. I have like spontaneously cried, but
yeah, because you're just in it.
Yeah. So we learned that Oliver is like about to get kicked out.
Yes. And he goes, Bunny, we're friends. And she goes, that's why I'm using a friendly tone.
Yeah.
You have 2 days. Get your stuff out.
Yeah. It's
It's a good interaction. Very uncomfortable for Oliver. Then he takes all the food because they're going to talk to Ursula, who does all the packaging.
Yeah.
And Charles says something to Mabel that upsets her, and she's like, I have a migraine. I'm going to go up to my place. Have fun with the sea witch yourself.
Yeah. So she gets on her computer when she's back in the apartment and starts recording a message. Yeah.
Yes. I'm just remembering. That breath was me remembering.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I understand. Yeah. And she says she wants this on record in case she's next.
Yes. And what she reveals is how she met Tim Kono.
Yeah.
And how that is they met when they were kids because she would go to the Arconia during winter and spring break, but she's from Long Island. And whoever they got to play these 2 younger versions, they, number one, they did a great job there. But the girl does say Long Island, the way people from Long Island say it.
Yeah.
A+ work.
It's great. Also,
or she's from Long Island.
Right. The sequence, which might be true, the sequence that they use to get into this is Mabel's sketches. So we go from adult Tim Kono and through to younger and progressively younger versions of Tim.
Yes.
In her sketches, and then an animated sketch of a little boy walking on a fountain that fades into the real scene of a little boy walking around on a fountain towards a little girl who is doing some drawings, who are Tim and Mabel. It's very good.
The language of cinema. It's very good. It's A+.
Yeah. It's and he says, hey, who are you? I've not seen you around. And she says, oh, I'm staying with my aunt. This is my aunt. She's in this apartment. And he says, oh, yeah, I like her. She gives out full-size candy bars at Halloween, which is good. And he's very direct. And she shows him a sketch. And he says, it's not very good. But, it's not in a... she explains that she liked him because he was very direct, but it wasn't unkind. It was just, direct. And she shares that she's been reading the Hardy Boys mystery series. And so they started hanging out a lot. And she pretended she would live there and they would solve little mysteries around the building. And they would be, their own Hardy Boys. And they go through a very cute sequence of them with magnifying glasses and sitting in an apartment and reading books next to each other, which is great. It's a great friendship when you're like, hey, let's sit next to each other and read different books.
Yeah, that's how you know you have comfortability with people.
Yeah, absolutely.
The adult version is a laptop and you're both working.
Yeah. So after Mabel and Tim have been hanging out for a few years, they also start hanging out with Zoe and Oscar, who are a couple. And
Oscar, if you will.
Sure. And Oscar
it couldn't be ooey.
It could. Yeah. Ooey is better than what I would have. That's nothing. You're right. Oscar is the only option.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It also puts the woman first. So let's talk about it. Girl boss, gatekeep, gaslight. Have you not seen that Twitter? Anyway, it's fine.
But yes, Oscar is the supers kid.
Mm-hmm.
And Zoe is, I don't know.
Seemingly a recluse.
A rich girl from the building.
Yeah, her parents own the entire 8th floor.
Yeah.
And she, as they're playing Hardy Boys, the reason it's important that Oscar is the Supers kid, he has keys to all of the apartments. So when people go out of town, they quote unquote play Hardy Boys, which is to say, rob people.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they're investigating stuff, and mostly Zoe
Is stealing like medication and jewelry. Petty theft.
She's one of those girls that's like very pretty and charming and funny, and so like when you're in high school you'd think that she was great, but it kind of sucks.
Yes. Which is great. And then does the flashback include specifically the night of the party as well?
Nah.
Okay.
Then we get out of the flashback and we go down and we go see our friend downstairs, Ursula.
The poor unfortunate bird. Oh, no. So she also she has a bunch of side hustles, and Oliver warns Charles to not fall for it. And Oliver, they get into this conversation of Christmas cards and thank yous.
Yeah.
And it turns out Charles doesn't tip because
Right.
he thinks it's elitist. So instead, he sends a signed headshot, which is such a funny joke, I think. And I think Marty and Steve Martin Short, are so good at playing the fool regarding their own egos.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a rarer, older style of humor. Self-deprecating humor really got into style. So
Yeah.
it's nice seeing two people who are like idiots, but because of the fact that they think too highly of themselves.
Right.
And they're constantly being brought down a peg.
Yeah.
I really enjoy that
Yeah.
because it's not often seen. But anyway, so this is all to say that Charles has never tipped Ursula. And so Oliver says, do not talk to this woman. She hates you because you've never given her money. Which is what you should do if you have a mailroom person.
Yeah.
And you live in the Arconia. You
Yeah.
can afford to tip.
Yeah.
So they get down there, and Ursula has this big file of stuff that Tim Kono has done. And Oliver's like, can I have that? And so she's like, if you buy this new drink that I'm hawking. And
It seems like she's about to, I'm sorry to interrupt,
No.
but she seems like she's about to give it to Oliver. And then Charles shows up. And
Yeah.
He's like, he's like, hi, Ursula.
Yep.
Oh, look, I see you have my headshot up, and has like devil horns on it. And like a
she's
mustache.
been throwing darts at it.
Yeah.
And he goes, I don't tip because I respect you. And she says, well, respect me less. And
Yeah.
that is such a good line.
Yeah, it's true. And she like immediately shuts down and is he with you? She says to Oliver.
And he's like, no. And he goes, yes. It's very good. It's very funny.
So then she gets the gut milk.
The gut milk as opposed to got milk. Very fun. It's like a protein energy drink.
Yeah.
And she's like, you have to buy $500 worth of cases for me to give you this one file. And if you buy 700, I'll tell you the stuff that wasn't in the file.
Basically, yeah.
And they're like, that's a very high asking price. And she goes, well, all of it's going to be gone tomorrow. And they're like, what do you mean?
Mm-hmm.
And they're coming to clean out Tim Kono's apartment tomorrow.
So, they buy the gut milk.
Not only, like, I understand the play on got milk, but also a disgusting sounding. I can't stand the thought of normal milk, let alone milk in a gut.
It sounds gross. So yeah,
Awful, if you will.
They do buy it, and Charles, of course, actually foots the bill.
Of course.
Because Oliver's gotten very good at getting other people to pay for things.
Number one. Number two, it is Charles's fault that they have to do it in the first place.
Yeah, it's true.
So,
so then they run up to Mabel and say, hey, they're cleaning out Tim Kona's apartment tomorrow. And they're like, great, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go check this apartment out before...
Again, they commit so many crimes.
Oh, so many crimes. Mostly trespassing.
Yeah, breaking and entering because
Yeah.
they have to pick the lock
Oh, yeah.
of what's her name's apartment yesterday.
Yeah.
Yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. Which is diegetically it happened yesterday.
Yeah. And the, exactly.
Anyhow, they go to Tim Kona's apartment.
They go to Tim Kona's apartment.
And they discover a bunch of blood there still, and little paw prints in the blood.
Yeah.
And Charles steps in the blood, and he's like, ugh. But there's also this huge shelf with all of the Hardy Boys books.
Yeah.
My dad collected those as a kid. He still has a bunch. It's very sweet.
That is sweet.
But this isn't. It's weird and creepy.
No, I don't know. I think it's
It's a bit of both.
nice.
It's weird and creepy because of the thing we learn later about it.
Well, yes. But Mabel looks at them and,
She's like, it's so weird. And they're like, what? And she's like, oh, just being here, I guess, because he's a dead guy's home.
But also, I just want to point out that when they walk in the apartment, they're wearing the yellow rubber gloves that my mom used to use to wash dishes. And also, he comes in with like a boom mic to record the podcast.
Oh, yeah. Oliver's weird.
Oliver's so weird.
He's very fun. It's so clear that he almost knows what he's doing, which is, I think, so accurate to life.
Yeah. I appreciate
Whereas
it a lot.
Charles knows what he's doing because he's forced himself into a box. And that's why they work so well as characters together. And then Mabel is just perfect. No complaints.
No. She's great. She's lying to these two men, but I get it.
I mean, they deserve it. Good for her, honestly. Go off, queen. I don't, we'll see how this series ends, but that's how I feel about her. It's like, it's none of their business.
So they find, is it a cat toy or is it a sex toy?
It is.
Because it looks like a cat toy.
I believe is a cat toy, but
Oliver treats it as a sex toy.
Either that or it's something I have not encountered.
Okay. Yeah, because I was going to say, I was like, that just looks like a sex toy to me.
Which doesn't quite track. It's probably a sex toy because it doesn't quite track unless there's something later on in the episodes. Because Tim was allergic to cats. So it's suspicious that there's that and then also little paw prints in the bird.
So we think that this is related to Evelyn, is
in
what
some way.
They think.
Because the cat had to have died after Tim.
Right, because of the blood paw prints.
Out, damn spot. It's a dog. Ah.
So then we flash back again. Mabel has a flashback to the night of the party. It's a New Year's Eve party, right?
Yeah.
So it's
Dick Clark's rockin' New Year's Eve.
Yeah, it sure is. And it's the night of the picture that she had shown in the previous episode.
Mm-hmm.
The picture of the four of them that they had taken.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is actually, now that I think about it, very interesting that she had a photo that said "My Hardy Boys" from the night that all of this went down.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, she probably wrote that on it after.
Yes.
In between the events that occur.
Oh, you think?
Immediately after
the photo's taken, because it's a Polaroid.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you kids that are listening know, but when you take a Polaroid, there used to be a little white section beneath it that your grandma would write the description of the picture on.
Yes.
Right.
And yeah, so in this scene, she's checking herself out in a mirror because she's about to go to a party, and then Zoe shows up and they compliment each other, and she goes, "That's a nice necklace. Where'd you get it?" Mabel asks Zoe, and Zoe's like, "Around." She clearly stole it.
Yeah.
And then Oliver goes through time and space, and what is his name? Oscar. This is why in Screenwriting 101, they say don't name characters with the same first letter.
I feel like Oliver and Oscar are pretty different names, though.
They are, but I, a fool,
true,
just got it confused.
That's true.
So he comes in and he goes, "Wow, Mabel. Holy crap."
I mean,
Yes.
Yes.
But also his girlfriend is standing right there. And he goes, what? I already told you were pretty. Oh, no. And she storms off.
Yeah.
So they're clearly going through a thing.
Just one thing.
Yeah.
It's not a necklace. It's a ring.
It's a ring.
And having seen later episodes,
it comes back.
It does.
She has to throw it in the fires of Mount Doom. If you can believe it.
Yep. This is actually the origin story for Lord of the Rings.
Amazon, step aside. We don't need your series. We need this.
Oh my gosh. Clearly Oscar and Zoe are having a fight.
Zoe with just an E. No Y.
Yeah. That's a
all.
way.
Yeah, it is a way. It's always confusing to me.
And Mabel's, drinking out of a solo cup at the party, and Tim is concerned, but he's like running after his friends, and then we cut again back to the present, and we see them talking about the footprints. They gather a bunch of things, go back to Oliver's apartment with like 4 or 5 boxes of gut milk.
Ick.
Yeah, so gross. Oh no, this is Charles's apartment, and so
Ick.
so they're trying to go through. They're trying to figure this all out. Mabel's getting very upset because it was, being unlikable does not mean you deserve to die. He was alone, and like, shouldn't we care about a human being that has died?
Yeah. And they're both like, and Charles is like, yep, he was a neighbor. He was a real human being. We should respect that. Because at one point, Mabel does go, his blood's on your shoes, which is like, oh, right. Yeah. And then when Charles is like, he's a neighbor, a friend, we should respect it, she goes, what episode is that from?
Yeah. And she finally confronts him about the fact that the speech he made was in an episode that she ended up watching, and he says that they let me write that was all true, that was a real thing that I said. And she's like, okay, but you then said it back to me verbatim. That's really weird.
He goes, is that weird? And she's like, yeah. And Oliver has this great line because they start talking about this and he has no context. He goes, oh, please tell me what's going on, unless it's boring, and then don't.
Yeah.
Which is like such a clear, like, in my mind, I'm like, okay, so they let Marty ad-lib a little bit. Because like, I can't imagine. Anyway, so it is weird, but it's so specifically with later episodes that we've seen it in tandem with Charles's personality to have something to recite.
Yeah.
He clearly has some sort of idiosyncrasy. You can get into the psychobabble of it all, but he clearly is uncomfortable with change.
Yeah.
And likes to keep himself in certain straight lines, shall we say.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So she storms out. She's annoyed, and Oliver's like, well, I don't know about her. She's kind of shifty.
Yes, because he says, this is every show I do. So obnoxious. Every show I do, my actors never trust each other. And so we're making a new show, so we have to learn to trust each other. And Charles is like, okay, can we just like promise not to lie and just trust each other? And Oliver goes, yes. And Charles goes, yes, I promise. And then Mabel goes, yeah, sure. Kind of avoiding it.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons. And so when she storms out, Oliver goes, yeah, I don't trust her at all. Which is a great immediate 180.
Yeah, yeah.
She seems shifty.
Yes. So we then finally go back again to the flashback, and Mabel is chasing Tim into an elevator.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, you saw someone with him. Who did you see? What happened? And then she actually ends up flashing back to present day and having a conversation with Tim.
Oh, yes.
Right. So this is not real, but...
language of cinema.
Yeah.
Very similar to if you've seen Flight Attendant.
I haven't.
There's a similar way in which they handle a murder mystery, which Flight Attendant is something we should cover eventually once we're settled back into whatever we're doing.
Great. Yeah.
I think there's a season 2 of that as well.
Okay.
Yeah, Kaylee Cuoco is very good on the show.
Oh, nice.
Anyway, she's speaking with Tim, a ghost of Tim.
Yeah, who has side of his head blown off. It's really upsetting.
For the first part, he doesn't, and then when she comes near him, he does. It's very interesting, and she's also in Tim's apartment. That should be noted. Because she goes through the books. Does she go through the books before or after they have
After.
Okay, cool.
So, does this have anything to do with what happened that night? Why didn't you tell the police what happened that night? All that stuff. And then
She has some line about, like, well, you're a dick. And he goes, ow, that hurts. And then he gestures to the side of his almost as much as this. And the actor nails the performance of being, like, very self-aware that it's a bad joke.
Yeah.
And I was like, great. Because that would be, if he decided to do it sincerely, would be a difficult sell.
Oh, yeah.
And so everyone's a very good actor on this show.
Yeah.
A+.
Yeah.
Way
really
to go.
Great. So yeah, he disappears, but you hear his voice say, I always enjoyed seeing you figure things out. So then she goes over to the Hardy Boys books and she opens one up and it's filled with jewelry. And then she opens another one up. It is also filled with jewelry. They are all false books filled with jewelry.
And notes as well.
Yeah.
Letters. What that can mean, we shall see next time.
Yes, we.
On the Amateur Detective Club.
And only murders
In the
the
building. We did it, fam.
And one of the things that is hidden in a book in the front cover is the drawing she made when she was a little girl the day they first met.
Yes.
So we go back to her apartment and she finishes filming her little confessional tape. Who was he? He was observant but robotic and kind if you looked at him the right way,
And never lied except once.
Yeah. And then you see a flashback and there is Zoe lying on the ground.
Oh, dead.
Dead. She has
fallen off the building.
Yeah.
Presumably.
Yep. And she saves In Case I'm Next is the name of the
file she saves it under. So,
end of episode.
Yeah, what'd you think? It's hard to rate these on individual things because it isn't wrapped up.
Yeah.
I think it's good. I think the comedy's good. I'll say 3.5, 4 out of 5. Like, I was engaged the entire time. I've watched it twice, and both times I enjoyed it very much. I think Ursula is a great character. I think it also adds... So far, they've been really great at adding to not only plot, but character at the same time.
Yeah.
Which is a hard thing to do.
It is.
And so, A+ writing team. A+ Steve Martin and the writer's room that he's working with.
Yeah.
I know he's not the lead writer, but I know he's a writer on it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And writer.
And writer. The thing about this show, and especially I've now seen 8 episodes.
Reading ahead.
Yeah. I always did in class too. Because I got bored.
Yeah.
The thing about this show is that it's so good, you kind of have to grade episodes on a curve, like comparative to each other. I'd give this one a 4. Okay. I think the pilot is slightly better than this. It's great as a pilot, as Tristan pointed out last week. But like, yeah, it's really good. It's really good. This whole show is very good.
Yeah. I would say if you're regrading it from the past episode, then I would give it like a 3 at best.
Okay.
Because it is funny, good, engaging, but is not as strong.
Right.
Because like, again, as well, with that similar, like with the pilot, with that twist at the end, you're like, oh, Whereas this one is like, okay, this is a logical extension of what we've already had. There's not a big like, ooh, I don't know where this is going.
The flashbacks are great.
They are good.
That's it's a pretty cool reveal. And then also the Hardy Boys books with all the, but it's not as much of a jaw dropping.
Yeah. I will also say this is a reaction to having seen it twice.
Yeah.
So I've stopped watching ahead because I don't want to have it go, well, of course this is what happened when discussing it. You know what I mean?
Right. And I think I'm not, I think I'm...
You don't have the same problem I do.
Right.
Because I need things to be novel all the time because I'm...
Oh, yeah, no,
an
I don't have
insane
that
person.
problem.
They either I need to have seen it 5 times already and so it's comfortable and I can really pick it apart, or it needs to be new and exciting. And this is what some people refer to as a personality flaw.
Right, yeah.
I would argue that I agree with them. But it's a good episode, good show, A+. Everyone's doing a good job. Keep it up, team. Good hustle out there.
Yeah. The acting really is so lovely.
It is. It's very good from everybody.
Yeah.
And Steve does this thing. Like, Steve is a pretty good actor, but he's really keyed into what he's really good at. And being an old guy, I think he's really aged into who he is. Yeah. Because he does this thing where he basically shouts all his lines because he's an old man. It's so funny. Because when they come in, the moment I'm thinking of specifically, when they come in with all the stuff after having just gone to Tim Kono's apartment, and he goes, and then we have the file from the woman from downstairs, and they go Ursula. He goes Ursula, right? And it's just such a believable, because he says like I'm thinking, but he doesn't say it in a like I don't know. It's just it almost makes me think like Steve couldn't remember the line, which means it's a good moment. Does that make sense? It was very good. He's very good in this. And since he's very believable and subtle as well. I don't know, like all of the acting, and I said how I feel about Martin Short's portrayal. And then having never seen Selena Gomez in anything, I'm like, wow, she's really good. Yeah. Had no idea.
Neither did I.
Congrats.
Yeah. So good.
Yeah.
So good.
The whole thing.
Yep.
A+.
Yeah, we like the show.
Oh, no.
And we'll meet each other next time on... This
Brazos.
Is how Brazos.
I hope they show us more of that. That's something I want. I want a full episode of Brazos available on YouTube as like part of a like promotional campaign. That's what I want.
Oh, yeah. That would be fun. That would be very fun.
Yeah. Okay. Now with that, I call this meeting of the Amateur Detective Club to adjournment. This is the sound of 1,000 terrible things coming. We're done. Gavel sound.
Good night.
Begin.